it'll just stay on.
Uh.
So this is the back behind the scenes.
This is huge.
AI World Fair.
Hello.
Sweet.
Hey everybody.
Let's see who joins today. This is cool. This is the first time we're doing this in person. First weekly Wednesday. Pretty sick.
Yeah, this is great.
I think you have to speak in the mic probably.
I'm pretty sure it's picking it up.
Oh, is it?
you can see the
Okay.
microphone here.
All right.
So
I wanna-
if we have technical difficulties,
I feel like it's fun to move it around. Are people on there? People are on there.
people are on. Hello, everybody.
Hello, hello.
You can hear our music. Put in the chat if you can hear music. Just say music if you can hear us. Because we don't know. Can't hear it.
We have no idea.
Yeah.
This is the first time we're doing this all live.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird not hearing
I know.
you guys come through.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll just
Watch, everything's just off. Is the camera even on?
we don't even know.
Oh, chat's on. Somebody
Chat's
posted the
on.
chat.
Chat's on. Hey, Brandon.
Oh, hey, Brandon.
Brandon, if you can hear us and everything's going well, just let us know in the chat because we can't hear right now. So, perfect. And
Oh,
the
that's
music.
and the music.
Nice. Okay, we'll just.
Can you hear the hotel music? It's all the music here.
We'll just turn off. Hopefully, there's no two musics.
No.
But well, let me just pull this up. Okay, cool. Well, this is the first time we're doing this in person. We're in San Francisco right now at the Marriott at the AI World's Fair, and I mean, pretty cool.
Yeah.
You can see the shirt. Yeah, World's Fair.
Works Fair.
Had to wear the merch just for the call.
San Francisco Works Fair.
San
This is where
Francisco. Yes.
Jelly Pod dropped. I guess.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nice.
Back in 100
Oh,
years.
here's the nice beat. Here's the background. The background's getting picked up. Love that.
Yeah. Well, we'll have music throughout the whole thing, just like
Yeah.
just like an actual podcast.
Yeah, we asked the hotel to put it on, just to add a little background. Just kidding.
But yeah, I mean, we wanted to make sure. Yeah, so the AI World's Fair is hosted by the Latent Space AI Engineer podcast, and it's like probably the highest density event of AI engineering, I would say, this year. I mean,
Wow. Like what? At least 1,000 people.
it's supposed to be 3,000.
3,000. I think
3,000
last year was
people.
1,500, and then this year it doubled.
Like
Wow.
Greg Brockman speaking tonight.
Wow.
Very
Right.
cool.
Exciting. Yeah.
One of the co-founders of OpenAI,
Yeah.
and currently the founder or co-founder of is it Superhuman Intelligence?
No, Ilya.
Oh,
Ilya's not here.
sorry.
No.
I don't know. I haven't heard from Ilya in a while. He's in his cave just tinkering away.
It's pretty interesting. I mean, like for Ilya, when you raise a lot of money, like you don't have to necessarily worry. Like he can go and do some crazy things in stealth for like a long time.
Yeah.
And just come out and be like,
It is
This
crazy though. He's
kinda works.
raised like 30. He's valued at 30 billion and hasn't produced anything. Even at some point, I'm good. He must be doing some amazing presentations behind the scenes to
right.
have that much capital just without any proof of concept. Yeah.
Well, his proof of concept of like is OpenAI. He's like, check this out.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but the question is like, okay, just because you have a model doesn't mean you have a business, and
Right.
they understand it. And so, if especially a suit, the question would be, well, are you gonna outcompete Sam Altman?
Right.
The Sam Altman, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I mean,
The
that
guy
didn't
that
go-
owns no equity in OpenAI.
Right.
Right,
I mean,
right.
it didn't go well last time. You went head to head. So,
Yeah.
but I generally, my hunch is he has some innovation on the architectural level or something that is somehow
Right.
different enough to have raised $2 billion or something.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
it can't be just the same model. Oh, we're just going to train the same model, but have a little better RLHF or whatever.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because
Totally.
I mean, Anthropic does that. Grok does that. There's just even if it's slightly better, that's not going to change the
Right.
game for them. So
Right. No, totally. That's super interesting. I mean, like we're just around a lot of people here. Yesterday, we were
Mhm.
sitting down before the event started, and somebody came up from SF Compute, which is a GPU like cloud marketplace. And they're like, "Yo, wait, you guys are JellyPod," and that was so cool because they just knew what we were doing. And that was a cool conversation.
yeah,
And they
Yeah.
give us some aerogels.
It's
Yeah.
cool to be recognized in the wild for sure. See your brand.
Yeah.
And then they gave us. I wanted to bring this to the crowd because I'm sure that most people have not seen what an aerogel is, but it is the least dense solid. Uh-oh. in the world. It's very brittle, but it's kind of like a cloud. It's like a hard cloud. If I can get it out, show it to the camera. It's like incredibly light. And it's
you
Right.
told me like it was 99% water or
Air.
air.
It's
Yeah.
99% air.
But yeah,
Eric asked, "Are we attending, exhibiting, or presenting?" We're attending. We're
Yeah.
we're just learners today. I'm learning.
yeah,
These guys should be teaching. And I'm learning.
yeah. We're attending at school. So I don't know if anybody here is in San Francisco, but if you're watching this and you're in San Francisco, hit us up. We'll be around for the next few days here at Marriott, but also around the city.
Yeah.
So Bilal and I got dinner last night. We went to the 11 Labs mix. We all went to the 11
Oh,
Labs
yeah.
mixer, and then we had some drinks, and then went to dinner.
Where'd you have dinner?
Chicken sandwich.
Chicken sandwich and the tenderloin.
Nice.
Yeah.
Which one?
Beer hall. It's called.
Called Beer
no.
Hall.
Yeah, Pearson was very nervous about the tenderloin.
I
wasn't that nervous. I was just like,
I think I know. I think I know the one you went to. It's got a nice interior.
It got a nice
Yeah,
interior.
I bet.
Nice,
Yeah,
nice.
yeah.
So I was just like,
It was nice. How was
fun.
you went to the Giants game with your parents?
I went to the
right?
Giants game with my sisters and my mom. That was
Right.
super cool.
Did they win?
They did not. They were up 2-0
Oh,
to
I saw
the
that.
till the
eighth inning,
10th, to the 8th, the 9th.
ninth inning.
It's we have this picture, Camilla. This is so off our typical stuff about AI podcasts. But no, we have this one closer who is just like throws really hard, but sometimes like just throws really hard right down the middle.
Oh,
And so he does that, and then they go ahead
Dang.
and he loads the bases, and Giants lose.
oh, that's a bummer.
Little baseball there, but
Yeah, right.
yeah.
And this is cool what Brandon's saying here about like giving an idea to deploy AI enabled podcast for events. Yeah, this is actually something that we're talking to a few pretty cool conferences and events that like are interested in this. This same event for we're talking to Swix and
Not a Swix, but somebody else. I can't remember. Benjamin, yeah.
Benjamin.
And I think the hard part is it was a really fast turnaround.
Yeah,
But
it
like
was
one thing
super
that people are interested in is there's a lot of sessions, right? Even us right now, we're experiencing this.
Right, right.
We have a
So many
calendar full of
sessions.
sessions, and you don't know what to listen to. You don't know what to go watch.
Right.
So it would be awesome if there was just a Spotify playlist that had 3 minutes on every single session. So when you're like walking around, whatever you're listening, you wait till something kind of piques your curiosity,
Right.
and then you go there. Because sometimes the titles don't do it justice.
Right. Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's like I think it makes so much sense because every conference has a website. You can just embed these little like and usually they have a talk. They'll have a page with a talk, maybe a YouTube link to the talk and a 2-line description as you're saying. Oh yeah, they talked about blah blah blah.
Right.
But if you can add a podcast or something, you can listen to that on the go. I think it can be
Totally.
a great complement to that.
Totally.
Right.
No, absolutely, absolutely. Super interesting. I mean, like, so I remind me last week when we had our weekly Wednesday, where were we at in the deployment of the new UX? Where we
We had not deployed the editor.
Oh yeah, no,
We've
yeah,
not
you
deployed, right?
deployed the changes. So if
No.
you guys have been to Jellypod recently, you probably see a very different UI now.
Right.
I guess Bert, I will let you.
Yeah.
You're the master behind it. So.
No, I mean, so if you've been onto the platform the last week or so, you've probably seen an improved experience. So last week we talked about captions and templates, and so there was a drop down where we had the basic audiogram template that was landscape, and then you can also go square, you can go portrait, and then there's 3 other templates that we had: spotlight, karaoke, and then captions. All super cool. So that was a big release for last week. But this week, we really went back to the drawing board, and based on feedback of like how people were using the platform, we were able to free up some real estate and focus really heavily on the transcript editing experience and the video on the left hand side. So now we have, we generate the transcript, we generate the audio, you have the video on the left hand side, and it no longer do you have the whole left side focus on the outline. A lot of people, spend the time editing the transcript. You have a V1 of your transcript. It's pretty solid, but there's a few tweaks you need to make. Maybe some of the audio wasn't generated well. Now you have, it's much more clean. You have a transcript on the right-hand side, the video's on the left. It's not like the scrolling thing up and down. The transcript's visible the entire time.
Yeah.
So it's like you can literally just scroll on the right-hand side on the transcript, and then you can see the changes on the left-hand side in your video. So that was pretty big. That's
Yeah, it
something
looks way
people.
cleaner. And you basically added tabs, so now we can toggle between outline and script, and that's you're saying that gives just way more real estate, especially on desktop, which I recommend. I know some people love mobile, but desktop I feel like really lets you see all the features,
Right.
edit away and see the changes. It's much easier to do, much more powerful.
It'd be really interesting. I mean, like if because I believe that the changes also like really do improve mobile.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
Really do.
mobile looks cleaner too. For
The
sure.
mobile
Yeah.
looks cleaner, so like we've really simplified out like the buttons and like the logic where it's on mobile they're smaller, they're more easily accessible on
Mm.
mobile devices. But yeah, if you're using JellyPod on mobile, like definitely try it on desktop. If you haven't, that'd be
Yeah.
crazy to me. I remember one time, like when we first launched a few months ago, there was this guy, he had a book. He was sitting out by his pool
Yeah.
and he was just like, I created a podcast in 20 minutes on my book, on my phone.
Mm.
And that
by
was
the
before,
pool.
by the pool. And that was like before it was even like mobile optimized. It was so poor. Like I remember I was like, how did you get through that? Like I didn't even know the
Yeah.
button was pressable because I thought it was like off the screen and stuff. But yeah, so yeah, it should be a pretty much more improved experience, cleaner. One of the key features that we also launched this week was that when you regenerate audio on your speech block, before you had to scrub and like change, like seek on the video player to find where that
Mm.
new generated audio was. Like let's say you generated like your third block, you had to like move the video player to like being like a minute 30 seconds. You got to
Mm.
figure out where that was. Now there's a button that you can click. They'll just take you right to the beginning of that speech block, so you can listen to that block that you just regenerated really easily. And hopefully that's pretty good. And we fixed some improvements. I know there's been bugs around like, hey, we lost some audio, and we obviously we regenerate your like we give you your credits for that. If there's an issue in the platform where something got lost, we'll absolutely just fix that for you super easily.
Yeah. If you're curious, go to our blog. We have we just made a post about it that goes into detail about all the things that Pearson just mentioned. Huge improvements to the front end, frees up so much real estate. It's really like the first step. We're always like talking about the first step,
Right.
but I think so much of what we add is with the future in mind. And we've unlocked so much for audio and video editing, and then on the back end, it's incredible. I feel like I've
Right.
never seen one release squash like 5 or 6 different bugs.
Right.
So yeah, please give it a go
Totally.
and start messaging support with how you feel, whether it's good. Usually everyone comes to me with the bad stuff, but if you like it, just
Yeah.
give a shout.
Yes.
It doesn't need to be the need help button. Want to chat?
Yeah,
I'm there.
Yeah, no, definitely, it's way more stable and I think better now. So we're always improving stuff. It's like I know it's like sometimes the front end changes are much more obvious, but back end is always improving.
Right.
It's
Right.
getting more stable. So
Yeah, and it's pretty cool. I mean, like I know that on our weekly Wednesdays we kind of want to talk about what we released, but also what may be upcoming. And I think it'd be cool to share. We're really thinking strongly about how do we improve that first run experience. And so right now we're actively developing just a newer UX for that first time onboarding flow
yeah.
that we're pretty excited to release soon. That
Totally.
ask you some questions about like who you are, what you want to create, everything, and get you up and running to like a podcast that's more in line with what you probably want to create that first run.
It's more personal.
Right.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, in fact, if you guys remember what your first experience was with JellyPod, like what did you put into that chat box? I call it chat box, but yeah, put it in the chat. Let us know. We're very curious. I think that's people have such a wide range of ideas, that they come to JellyPod with. So we're trying to give you the best possible onboarding experience based on
Right.
that.
Right, totally. I know. I see Eric here is
Yeah.
he posted something.
Oh yeah, the conference.
Let's see,
I
let's
actually
see.
had the same idea.
Wait. Yeah. So
How about a jelly pot? Well, actually, Eric, what I was thinking was like we could have a bunch of our jelly pot, family like up here, who really have created podcasts. And yeah, I mean, like you're saying, we could do talks about it,
That'd be wild.
etc. So that
Man-
that would be fun.
imagine like having everybody that's ever created a podcast in one room. It'd be like tens of thousands of people. Like in it's like, what podcast did you create? What podcast did you create?
Yeah.
That'd be nuts.
Yeah,
And you
or
scan your
and
QR
all-
code and you're like, this is my podcast. Come
or
listen.
or yeah, some way of knowing which podcast you created with your branding cover art or
Right.
something. I actually we've talked about this, but I actually think we want. I do have this idea of building out a Jellypod community using location or something. We actually, oh yeah, we did revamp the Explore page. So
Oh,
Explore
yeah.
podcast page looks way cleaner now, and you can search through podcasts. And Jellypod has always been this two-sided thing. Where the focus has been on the publishing side. We obviously want to give you the tools to publish the best podcast possible, and that still is our core. But there's this other side where people who create podcasts, I mean, you probably have a lot in common with each other, and so how do we surface that? Whether it's through searching through other podcasts, connecting, etc. So I think there's some really interesting ideas there.
Right. Totally. Yeah, that Explore podcast page is pretty nice now. It's like really revamped. It's nice. Search bar functionality.
Yeah, you can search through, and I'm hoping people find some interesting stuff there. So it's not just a publishing tool; it's also a consuming tool. Maybe you'll find some of your favorite podcasts, down there. But we found some interesting ones
Right.
there
right,
ourselves.
Totally. Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. And thanks, Peter. I mean, hopefully that's super helpful for you. We realized that about like 25% of the audio generated is first time audio and 75% are regens.
Hmm.
And so regeneration is something that's core. It's like, hey, something's was said kind of wrong, or I wanted to make a change, and getting back to that place is like super important. So hopefully this makes it way easier, much more useful.
Yeah, you can
But,
immediately. It's incredible. You can immediately. It's like,
Yeah.
it's lovely.
Yeah,
Yes.
for
Yeah.
sure.
And Peter, thanks for writing in, and thanks for the intercom messages. Love it.
You and Peter chatting on intercom.
Yeah, me and Peter.
Nice. Hopefully it's mostly good. If there's some bad in there,
Yeah,
So-
Peter's great. Very
Oh,
supportive.
nice.
Yeah, yeah.
Sweet. No, I appreciate that. Yeah, it's always great to see like the same a bunch of like the familiar faces in the chat, just like messaging Peter, Brandon, Eric. I wonder where Franny is. She's been dead for a while.
Brandy's been
But
R.I.P.
Franny, if you're watching this eventually, we're hoping you come back on. You were a longtime supporter, and think you're just watching it from the sidelines. So that'd be sick.
Yeah, I think so too. What did Brandon say about Monster Truck Mania?
Oh, Brent.
He's got a new podcast idea.
Looks like he has a podcast idea. I think so. Brandon was talking about podcasts for his kids, right? He was generating podcasts with his children. In the car.
He made a superhero named Max Velocity with his kid, and Brandon was generating. The coolest episode. I remember the funniest episode we talked about was one time the kid wanted to learn about dinosaurs, and then once he got done with that, he was like, "I want to learn about clouds." Next day,
Clouds.
episode on clouds.
That's pretty cool. I mean, that's super cool. Like if you have like that same character, like it's something we were talking about the other day, where it's like
Yeah,
we're AI podcast studio, and you create your hosts. You give them a backstory. You give them a voice. It can be a clone of your voice. Can just be designed. And at the end of the day, there's characters.
Yeah.
And there's so many other dimensions to what makes a host interesting to listen to, whether it's their experiences, the memories that they have, and all these different dimensions that really could be useful and like
Absolutely,
helpful
yeah.
in the platform.
Yeah, no, I think it's definitely on my list. We want to expand that host profile because, like you said, it's only a backstory now, like 3 to 4 lines, but a host, which is a proxy for, a person, an AI person. There's so much more to that, the way they talk, whether that's by association, you anecdote or this monster truck character, they probably have a certain Sesame Street type of like vibe, right? And definitely, I think pictures are definitely going to make it more personable. So we're definitely thinking of adding AI, like an avatar image for hosts and stuff, which you can use, and hopefully, ultimately, not to look too far ahead, but we want that to be part of the final output where you can just generate a podcast with that host. That'd be so amazing. I think.
we kind of talked about this yesterday, but like what's cool is that as the hosts become more and more durable and these unique characters, right?
Okay.
And the podcasts become these like structures that wrap around these hosts that exist. We're almost in the business of like universe building,
Mm-hmm.
right? There's like you could see hosts and guests coming in and out of podcasts, and your podcast, maybe even your network of podcasts, begin to form content universes.
Right.
All around, it could be your brand or around your cool vision, your cool
Yeah.
story.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So much.
Yeah, and it'd be interesting for you, Brandon. I mean, if the previous podcast was talking about, what'd you say? It went from trains to clouds. Was that the What you said for Brandon?
Dinosaurs to clouds.
Dinosaurs to clouds.
Specifically the Apatosaurus.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
That'd be interesting. I mean, like if you had memory, like right now we don't have memory. Like episode 2 is not going to know episode 1, and that's like a known limitation. People are talking about that, but very cool. Like imagine episode 2 that's talking about clouds references episode 1 that's talking about dinosaurs. Is like,
Yeah.
hey, what about a cloud dinosaur? Like we talked about last time. Like let's take those dinosaurs and make them into clouds or something. So it's super cool.
Yeah. And I think that there's like the fun fictional universes, but I think there's also just huge implications for brands as well. Because you have you're promoting a brand is ultimately like has a mission and a problem that they're trying to solve, and there's lots of people within that organization that are trying to solve it in very different ways. There's the leadership team, there is engineering team, sales team, and they all have a different perspective on this. So to tell that story in a very easy way, but always grounded in the reality of what they want to say. Right? I feel like that's what's so cool. We're not just inventing things out of thin air all the time. We're helping you tell the story that you want to tell in a different format that you might not just have the time to do.
Right.
Um,
Yeah, totally. Yeah. I was talking to somebody yesterday, again from SF Compute, but he was like, why are you doing this? Do you feel like what is that service that you're providing? And it was kind of just giving more people a voice to create content that, they want to create, they may not be creating because it's too hard, too time consuming, whatever. And it was just I was like, he was like, yeah, I think I always thought it was good to give more people the ability to be creative, to have a voice, whether that's through writing, whether that's through video creation,
Right.
podcasting,
Yeah.
and lowering the barrier to entry to any of these things is always a positive thing. And then you can also take that to, like he asked, right? Okay, misinformation and all that other stuff. Like people can start creating like bad content. I was like, okay, yeah, you could write a book that's completely like false or like just completely propaganda or
Right.
things. Book,
People do.
blog, people do. I was like, but I don't think that ever should be a reason why not to give more people voices. I think having more voices out there, democratizing the creation is really
Yeah.
important.
And I think
So
it pushes the quality. I think I've mentioned a story before of the clay pot. Like they did a study. They took 2 classes.
Oh,
They
yes.
divided a class in half, and half the students were given an assignment of making the one perfect clay pot, and they would be graded on that clay pot. The other half was given the assignment of making as many clay pots as possible.
In like 30 days or something, right?
Right, something,
yeah.
yeah. And then they found out that half actually made the best clay pot because, yeah, you make a lot of shitty clay pots,
Right.
but the quantity teaches you so much more than just that one clay pot process. And so invariably they just made the best clay pot. And so I think of podcasts, yeah, I mean, there will be a range of podcasts, AI podcasts. I mean, not just podcasts, AI slop or whatever people say, but I think it will ultimately lead to a Cambrian explosion of ideas and the best
Right.
stuff will come. You see that in TV too. There used to be 3 key TV channels. And now objectively you can say, I mean, yeah, there's a lot of crappy Netflix shows or whatever, but some of the best shows are also
Right.
of modern day
Right,
because
right.
They surface from that, all
Totally.
that stuff.
Totally.
So,
No, it's super, it's super interesting.
I wonder if there'll ever come a day when a AI podcast takes off so much that it becomes the bedrock of content at the level of like Netflix. Like if a Netflix
like
spin-off,
AI Rogan. or
no,
something.
like a Netflix show spins off the Max Velocity, right?
Right.
Brandon's podcast gets such a cult following
Oh yeah.
that millions of people start following it. Then it's just like, why don't we make a Netflix show?
Right.
And then they bring Max Velocity to visual.
Right. They're
They're
characters. They're characters at the end of the day. It's like really
I-
It's
interesting.
character building,
It's
totally.
like, why does anybody ever watch like an animated movie
Mhm.
or like show? It's just because it doesn't matter that they're not real. It's like an interesting
Right.
thing. And it's like there's a person, there's a rising action, climax, like the whole story that's being told, and it doesn't matter. That's an animated film. That's not true. It's fiction,
Right.
and
Yeah.
it's pretty cool.
I wonder when we were talking about this yesterday, but I wonder when we'll get our first live action Pikachu.
Mm.
So like Pikachu the character, but like
well, they did a
Detective,
Detective Pikachu, right? Yeah, but you, no matter the form factor, you can see
Right.
that's the character, that's Pikachu, right?
Right,
You can see them in a costume, you can see whatever. That same idea of creating a character, a visual character, is going to happen with a non-human like AI actor.
That'd be interesting.
yeah.
Imagine
Oh,
like a Pikachu podcast, and it's 10 minutes of just like
Him and Ash,
Pikachu.
Pika
There
Pika.
That's the only words it says. Pikachu.
Yeah, I bet some
Um,
people will watch it.
Yeah, maybe.
Pikachu's
maybe.
I wouldn't be surprised if there's a Pikachu conference where everyone's just in
Totally
Pikachu.
is.
Everyone's in
Totally
Pikachu
Pokemon
conference.
Yeah,
Totally.
people love
Totally.
Pikachu.
So I mean, like, I wonder if there's anything that you guys are wondering about the platform. Like, have any questions about the new UI, templates, captions, seen any, like anything that you really like, or like an obvious, like low hanging fruit, something that you really want to see. Like, oh, why don't you support X, Y, or Z? Let us know. Especially if you're watching this live, the comments are awesome. We can answer them right now. But if you're watching on Weekly Wednesday for the first time, um, drop a comment on the YouTube video or chat with us in the app. And literally, it's so easy. Like I'll walk you through this process. So when you go to the need help button and you say, hey, like, can you do X? Why can't you do X? Jason is usually the first guy there. He's like, oh, you can do this. This is how you do it. Or no, like you can't do this thing. But that's an awesome idea. He just goes and like clicks a button, and that gets added to our roadmap. Like that's how easy it is. So when you say, hey, can you add this feature? He just clicks a button. It goes to our roadmap, and then we review that. We add comments. Sometimes it's so quick that we could fix it that day. Like
Mm.
it's like I think that yesterday there was somebody that had a bug or something, or the other
Oh,
day
yeah.
had a bug.
What was that?
There's like a branding issue.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah, yeah.
Oh, the Warmer?
Yeah, but that one we need to look into a little bit deeper. But like there are examples of stuff like that where you say like, hey, I found this bug, and it could be fixed within like the next 30
Oh, yeah.
minutes, the next day.
No, I appreciate it.
So
Sometimes they even try to help us, like I know you give.
Oh yeah, one
send
super
us-
interesting, like clearly either a current hacker or a former hacker was like was debugging on his side and like sending us screenshots of his
Yeah, he's looking
browser
at the
log.
console logs and stuff.
Yeah,
He's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
looking at our source code, and he's like, "Yeah, this function might be."
yeah,
it was funny.
yeah.
That's like with external audio. Yeah,
Oh yeah.
right.
Yeah.
And that's, I mean, pro tip. I know we don't surface this pretty well in the transcript editor, but you can drag in audio
Somebody said that
anywhere
today. Yeah,
anywhere into the transcript editor. So you have intro audio, outro audio. Those are buttons, very clear that you can add that. But if you want audio in the middle of your podcast from some file on your desktop, just drag it over and just put it wherever you want, and then it'll work.
a sound effect, a pre-recorded snippet. Some people, if Pradeep is watching this, Dr. Pradeep Maya, he loves to actually have like AI him and real him. So he'll record real him talking and drop that into the flow
Right.
of AI him talking to his AI co-host.
That's great.
So he's trying to fuse the some people are doing some interesting
He's
things
just
like
talking to himself. Right. That's kind of cool.
and the third person.
Right. Yeah. That's nice.
It's like he's hacked together a 3-person podcast. People are asking a lot for 3-person podcasts, and he hacked it together.
Right. That's super cool. Well, I mean, I don't know. Is there anything else you guys wanted to share?
I think we covered the
Covered a lot of
big
it.
ones. Yeah. Yeah. Hopefully, have updates from the conference next week. Let you guys know
Yeah.
if you discovered the next Tesla or whatever.
It'd be pretty interesting. I know, like sometimes we go on tangents and we're like talking about random things. So next week we'll definitely talk a little bit about like, hey, how was the conference? So what did you learn? So if that's stuff you like, Bilal and I and Jason might do like a spin-off thing where we'll just talk about media gen and AI in general, just because I think we're pretty informed about everything that's happening in this space, like generative AI, media. And I know we try to keep it a little bit more Jellypod focused. Like, hey, what did we release this week? What are we going to release next week? But it's also fun for us to just be like, hey, like there's some really cool stuff that people are creating in just the space in general, and just want to share it with you all and get excited as we are in this space and like the potential of just really accelerating creativity. So
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and just I guess we started doing this a bunch, but if this is the first time that you've heard of Jellypod and you just happen to discover this randomly on YouTube, Jellypod is an AI podcast studio. What we do is we help anybody create a podcast that is totally customizable, from hosts to backstories to voices to scripting to outline to narrative, all the way to Spotify, and all within minutes.
Yeah. So that's and then we do this weekly Wednesday, every Wednesday at 10 a.m. Pacific time. So if it's your first time, join us next week. And if you want to just chat with Jason about your day, just click the button in the bottom right-hand corner on the app, and
I'll be
Jason
there.
will be there.
And if you want these guys in there, just message that, and I'll tag them in there, and
we'll all come in.
we'll all chat.
Yes, yes.
Communication.
But cool. Well, thanks everybody, and we'll see you all next week.
Bye, guys.